Hello again, and welcome back once more to the Ender Coaching Series. So on this game, you wanted me to take a look at this game because this was a pretty strong lineup that you played here, and you end up winning this game. So we've got, down the lineup, we've got Patrick on left wing, we've got you at center, obviously. And then on the right wing, we have Ty Lenole. And then in the back end, we have Sin Win, which really weird religious themed name there. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with that. He's trying to sin to win. That he just sounds like an immoral person. But then on the right side on defense, you've got Rowland version 2. So this should be an interesting game to watch, and we'll see what there is to say about this one in a second here. All right, so I have it stopped here. You're about to run into a group of guys that are going to try to kill you. I don't know if they're like bandits or whatever. But yeah, so you're going to try to kill those guys. I think you could have done this a little bit better here. But we'll see how this goes here. You refuse the standoff, which well, that's fine. You can do that. So yeah, these guys are attacking you. You're going into wind stance here, which is great. And then you're going to slash that guy a bit. His armor prevented him from instant death. And you slashed at that guy a little bit. Now you got some other guys that you're trying to kill here. So obviously they're they look like pretty tough guys. Nice dodge on that arrow. This guy's blocking. Oh no, you didn't dodge that one. That wasn't very okay. So right here, what I would see you slashed this guy and blood flies out. That blood is actually going to blind this guy over here. So you could take your katana and just shove it like right through his forehead. He won't even see it coming. That's what I'd do. You kind of like get back off and let that guy regain his composure for a second. That wasn't ideal. Kind of pretty sure his spear there went through you, but that's all right. He just kind of attacked his teammate there. Maybe still kind of confused from that blood splurt earlier. Now here, that guy's weakened. So yeah, I think you can just you could probably just cut his head off, and then again, when that happens, his head is actually going to fly up in the air, and the blood shooting out of his neck should disorient these guys. So then what you can do is, while his head's flying down, you can actually kind of like use your katana to baseball bat the head into one of these guys and knock them out, and then you can just like, stab him or whatever, and then the rest is a cleanup. There's only a few guys left here, so pretty easy at that point. You could also try deflecting an arrow back into that guy's head and insta-killing him. But yeah, you're going to clean up the rest of this fight here. I don't think there's a whole lot else to say. I think really did pretty well here, but you probably could have chopped a guy's head off and baseball swung it at somebody else. But, other than that, pretty solid fight here. I think you could have cut to the outside there and kept the puck possession alive, but you're able to get it back here and then back out to the point. You're in front. Almost, I'm not sure if you deflected that or if it went off a guy in front, but played it well after that. Just think on the initial entry, you could have cut to the outside there and kept the puck. Nice pass there. Unfortunately, he got a little stick locked on that one. That was okay though. Probably had to try and L2 that there. Ooh, that was rough. Yeah, I think you kind of had a lot of pressure in front of you. Maybe either trying to like just get a shot off quick, dump it in, or L2 a little bit. Ooh, that worked out. Wow, I feel like that was a little lucky. I mean, I'm glad it worked out, but there was a little hopeful here because you've kind of got this space in front of you here. You got a couple, like you're a little slow. These guys are maybe catching you, but you do have a little space ahead of you. If you'd passed it right away, it probably would have worked. I think you kind of, once he like makes this step here, he's like totally committed to taking off this pass, and you probably figure he's probably going to get it. At this point, I'd probably look to take advantage of this misstep by him here and just try to skate it a little bit, but I assume you're worried now at this point that you've slowed down too much and this guy's going to catch you and then this guy's going to make it even harder. Alternative option, these guys are ignoring Patrick. Nobody's paying any, all three of these guys here are pressing down to try and take away the space that you two guys have here. So you could just totally throw them off by tossing it back to Patrick here if you don't think that you have the speed to get this to the net. Because I'm thinking, like, based on the speed that you have going into this play, you probably would get beat back by this guy. But passing it here, I think if you passed it to Tylenol a little earlier, you would have been all right, and he could have maybe let you drive to the net and pass back or shoot for a rebound or something. But I think this was like exactly the wrong moment to look for the pass. But it ended up working. It kind of like hit off. It looked like he missed it, and it hit off Tylenol's stick. I'm not really entirely sure what happened there, to be honest. Let's look at it again. Okay, so you make that little cut into the middle, and yeah, okay, yeah, so he did try to pick it up, and it just kind of hit off his stick and went through anyway, and then Tylenol makes a nice goal. Yeah, I don't know, it's probably not the ideal play there. I would have expected him to take that away, but you got a little lucky it worked out, and you know, sometimes it works out, so not bad. Can't really complain about it. Okay, here you kind of it was nice that you pressured that guy and kind of forced the turnover and then hit him and took him out of the play. I think that Tylenol is going to get the puck here. He's going to give it to you. You got kind of. I see what you're trying here is that Patrick's like wide open for a 1T in front. But because you're kind of in an awkward spot here, you're facing the wrong way. I think actually I probably would have done the same thing where I kind of L2'd in this situation to kind of keep the puck on my forehand towards the net. But I think if you hadn't, your guy probably would have been facing this direction instead of this direction. And if he was facing kind of more this way, your forehand would probably be here, and you can forehand that pass through to him. But because you're kind of turned around here, you would have to make kind of like a behind-the-back weak pass, and I don't think that that's going to go through. It ends up a turnover. But at this point, because you're turned this way, I think if you really wanted to be like, you know, try and be cheeky and force this pass through, you can go between the legs and try to push the pass through. I think that would work better than just trying to pass it from here, especially considering the angle here is a little less favorable. If you'd put the puck between your legs, the puck would be about here, and your seam to his stick is actually perfect, like perfectly between these two guys. Whereas right here, the puck being here, you're going to have to kind of curl it back this way, which puts it into like this guy's stick territory. But, you know, you also kind of have to take a moment to charge up the pass here, which gives these two guys a little more time to get into position and knock it away. I think if you'd put it between your legs, you probably could have just quick passed it right away and put it perfectly through the seam. It might have actually worked. If you had gone like for that cheeky between the legs pass, it really might have worked. But I'm probably thinking at this point, not even trying to force that pass through. Wait for these guys to get a little closer to you, maybe, to kind of open up a little more space in this area, and then give it back to Tylenol. Let him kind of take it in around maybe behind the net, and then find Patrick out the other side, or go back out to the point and set up like a one-timer for a deflection or something. Just keep the possession alive. You know, definitely a great opportunity in front here for a one-timer, but it was just tough with the way that you picked up the puck, the way you were facing. I think there's probably like a better option. Probably just send it back to Tylenol. Or again, if you wanted to be cheeky, try that between the legs pass. Could have worked out. All right, so you get the tie up, win the draw here, and you make a nice little delay and then cut out to the outside to get it to Rowland. That was a nice zone entry there. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I like it. And actually, that entry is another thing that just kind of shows that I think you're getting a little more comfortable holding on to the puck, even if just for an extra second or two, like just that extra little second to delay, put a little move on the guy that was pressuring you to open up space for Roland to get in and make the pass over to him. It was just really nice. So love to see that. right. You know what? You know what? I kind of like this play here. It's obviously like it's kind of you end up with the puck in a sharp angle. Not ideal, but hey, you know what? I told you to have more of a shooter's mentality, and I like it. I like to see that you're just like, hey, shoot it. Like, I mean, there is kind of room to score here. I think you may, and I actually, again, like I said before, with this actually might have been a between the legs pass opportunity to get it back out to Patrick. He has a lot of room here, but it's tricky. Definitely, like if you didn't go between the legs, like if this guy was on you, you didn't have a lot of time and space here to try and make like a cheeky pass or anything. So I'm totally okay with just trying a shot here. Yeah, you never know. I mean, these weird angle shots, like they go in this game, and you never know when some crazy EA nonsense is gonna happen. So I don't mind it, and I like to see the shooting mentality. You got to respect it. I like that play all the way up the ice, to be honest. You did a good job supporting in the breakout, did a good job helping get it into the zone, and then you were in a good position for a pass or even for that rebound if the puck came loose in front, so I like to see that. Alright, so this has just been a really solid game overall, I think, by everyone. Like, I haven't really had a lot to say. I think there haven't been a lot of like opportunities that that you could have made more than what they were. I think you've been playing well. Yeah, I mean, but the only thing I have like left to say at the end here is it was a nice play to steal the puck, and then you've got a breakaway. I think what I'd like to see here, like right as soon as you get that puck and start moving the other way with these guys back checking hard on you, just try like the self sauce. The old like R1 push it ahead. You know how to do it, but there's obviously you do have to think about your passing stat. So you have to, if your passing stat is lower, you have to press it just a little bit harder. It's not really that big a deal, but it's just pretty much it's pretty much the same regardless anyway. Just tap R1, you'll be fine. But yeah, I think you could do that one time here just to try and get a little bit of extra separation from these guys. I mean, genuinely, just doing it like one time can be the difference maker between the back checkers catching you and you actually being able to get ahead and get a shot up. Obviously, you don't really have time to take the breakaway here, which I think is actually also part of why I wanted to see a kind of little bit of that speed burst, because it might get you just a little bit closer to try and make a slightly better shot at the end here. But I think the biggest takeaway on this one for me is simply the way it ends, and I'll let it play out. So the whistle blows, you never got the shot off, so that to me is the big standout thing, that I think like you seemed like you were not aware that the clock was about to hit 0. So you've always got to be aware of the clock. You always got to know how much time is left. It's important, and not really a tremendous deal, because it's not like even if you had gotten a shot off there, probably wouldn't have scored. But you never know. So it's just something to keep in mind. You always want to be aware of everything, and that includes the clock. So just make sure that you're keeping in mind the amount of time left. Okay, this is kind of like a really minor thing, but this really stood out to me, and I saw this and I'm like, all right, I have to talk about this because it's something that I really liked that you did, and I feel like even just like a couple weeks ago, you probably would not have done what you did here, but I really like this a lot. You end up with the puck, and Tylenol kind of drives it up the middle. Maybe if you had hit him with a pass like right here, he maybe could have gone up here and split the D and gone through. But I actually like that you held on to it, because at this point here, once it's hit this point, it's too late. Like, this guy's in position to pick it off. This guy's also potentially in position to do something about it. But once it's hit this point, it's already too late. But I really thought that once it got to this point, you were going to fire this up here and it was going to get intercepted. But you actually held on to it. And I liked it. And you just took this space over here wide open. You just went over here. Love it. I love it. So I think maybe you could have hit Tylenol like really early on that pass. But at a certain point, it was obvious that you couldn't do it anymore. So you just held on to it, saw the room over there, and took it. And that's awesome. And I love to see that poise with the puck. Not feeling like you have to make a pass or feeling like, you know, oh, I got to get rid of it. Oh, I can't have it on my stick. I got to get rid of it. Like, no, there's open ice over here. You see it, you go to it, and you keep the puck the whole time. And now look at this. You got a free entry. You've got, you know, this 4-on-4 situation here with support coming from behind as you're on the power play. So this is just a free zone possession here. All because you just decided, hey, I'm going to hang on to the puck and skate it in. And, you know, especially in a power play, I think that's a great decision too, because this risky pass here that maybe could have worked out, but also maybe wouldn't have worked out. You know, it's just power play. It's good to have possession, especially considering you just run that big tipper. And Sinwin in this game has actually been doing a good job getting the puck to the net from the point. You've already scored a tip goal in this game. I think you end up scoring another one by the time the game's over. But yeah, I really like that play, that just poise and decision. Like, yeah, I'm just going to carry the puck. Like, yeah, that's awesome. I love it. And then we see, to cap off this play, you end up making a nice play to avoid the computer there, and then you just get it to the net. Love it. Love it. Get it to, you saw you had a lane to skate that in a little bit. You skate it in a little bit, and you get it to the net. Let's see if I can hit this 29 mark here. Yeah, there we go. Get around nice move to get around the computer. Get some room, but you actually, if you really wanted to get like confident about it, you could probably skate this directly to the front of the net, because they've given you a lane, and Patrick is actually blocking this guy, so this guy can't even get to you. The only guy who can do anything to you at this point is this guy, and I think you were expecting him to play aggressive on you here, which I would have too. I don't know why he like ended up turning away from you, but you could have actually taken that and skated it in a little bit further. But I like that you put the move on the computer, got around him, created space, drove it in a bit, and then took the shot. You know you have Patrick here, so you got maybe a tip. You got a rebound potentially, and I mean, it's kind of a weird goal that ends up happening. It sits there and just goes in somehow, but I mean, you know, good things happen when you make nice moves, get some space, and get the puck to the net. I think the thing I love the most about it is that you didn't try to force a pass in front to like Patrick or all the way across to Tylenol. You just took it and shot it yourself, and it's a goal because of it. Love to see that. There isn't really a whole lot to say about this one. It was a nice play by you, nice play by Roland, nice play by Tylenol, nice play by everybody really. But yeah, I'll just point it out anyway because I like that, you know, he turns back, loses it momentarily, has no other choice, has to get it back out to the point. He does. Roland sees a lane to the net, just gets it there, and you're in perfect position for this tip. I mean, this really is the noteworthy thing to me here is that, I mean, you always do a good job just being in front of the net, but you're in such good position on this one. You're like bodies out of the lane, which, you know, I mean, sometimes you want to screen the goalie or whatever, but here, I mean, obviously you weren't close enough to be able to do that, but you got perfectly back into position so that your stick can be here in the lane and you just get that nice tip. Really good position on that one to get the deflection and score, you know, what was a pretty big goal, honestly, at this point. I mean, I think you're up by like 3 goals now late in the game, but you never know what kind of nonsense is going to happen. So a bigger cushion is always welcome when it comes down to these, you know, last moments of the game. All right, I'm about to point out something that Sinwin actually does here, because I feel like this is a potential teaching moment for you, but also kind of a potential like comparison to like where I think you are getting closer to now as opposed to where you were and where I think you could be. So we're going to see Sinwin skated up a bit here. He has no passing lanes. You're totally covered by this guy and this guy a little bit. This guy's closing off the middle of the ice here. No way he's getting the pass all the way across to Tylenol. Patrick's totally covered. So he actually makes a good play at first, skates it up a bit. This guy way overcommits to the outside lane, so he actually makes another nice play and just cuts to the inside lane, but then gives it away. So he had room here. He skated. What he's gonna do here, what he should do here, once he's around this guy, like he forced a pass across. I don't know why that needed to happen. He's like, this is exactly the kind of thing that I've been wanting you to kick out of your game, where this feeling like, oh, you have to pass it, like, oh, I gotta make a pass here. There's no reason for him to pass this. He's got room to skate it. This guy is coming over maybe to cut him off. But the thing is, if this guy comes over to cut him off, wait for this guy to commit to you here, and then pass it over to Patrick. And Patrick just gets a free in, and then you're behind this guy now. With room in front of you, this guy's way out of the way. You got Tylenol coming in over on the side. So this was a potential huge opportunity here off a couple nice plays by Sinwin, but then he kind of blew it with just a forced pass at the end that didn't need to happen. He had room to either skate it, take it in himself, or if this guy really committed to him, pass it over to Patrick. But yeah, this is just kind of an example I wanted to pick out because it was a really nice play. A lot of what I want to see you do more, and what you have been doing a lot more. But then at the end, kind of contrasting it with the thing that I want to see you not do, which is, that feeling of like, oh, you have to pass it. And ironically, you were actually the pass target on this one. But, just kind of something I wanted to point out here is I think it definitely applies to what I'm talking about. All right. So you ended up winning the game 6-2. Got some nice RP, big 4 points there. All three forwards with 2 goals and 2 assists. But yeah, just a strong game. I didn't feel like there was a lot that I needed to say about that game, so I'm not entirely sure how long this video will be. I've been recording for like 45 minutes, but I don't think I stopped it as much. I didn't think there was as much to say about this one. Just a strong game overall. It's one of those games where it's just very like tight checking. And so, there was not really a whole lot that stood out to me as being like, oh, you could have done more here. It was very one of those games where you kind of had to scratch and claw a bit, and maybe ended up, the scoreboard maybe ended up a little bit higher. 6-2 maybe didn't quite look like that, but, I honestly think that it was just one where, you did score 6 goals, so you took advantage of the opportunities you had, and I don't think there were too many examples in this game where I could say, oh, here's somewhere where, you could have done something better. There's certainly plays where I thought maybe you could have tried this. Like I mentioned the between the legs pass a couple times, but like honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, hindsight is 20/20, and it's just you could watch back every game you've ever played and been like, oh, I should have done that here, I should have done that here. But, you're not always going to make the perfect play. You can't see into the future. You can't see exactly what play is going to be the perfect play to make. But there was definitely a lot to like about this game. A lot of just poise and confidence with the puck, which I love to see. I want to see more of that. Shooting mentality, which I also love to see. Great positioning for the tips, which, you always do that. The defensive game. I haven't even talked about the defensive stuff because I just don't see any need to. I don't think that's something that I would be concerned about with your game at all. And it's also one of those things where it makes me a lot more. It makes it a lot easier for me to say, hey, take a risk here, or try this play here, or, try to get cheeky with this one or whatever, look for a better opportunity here or whatever. Because I know that if you start adapting your game to try and be more aggressive, there's no fear that like you're going to slip into this like, oh, now suddenly, I'm trying to be so offensive, I can't play defense. Like I know that if you kind of forego the defensive end a little bit and start trying to think more offensively, that you can work on the offense and get better at the offense, but you're always going to be able to come back to it in the end and come back to that strong, foundational, fundamental hockey game that you have. Because you obviously have a good sense of like what's going on and how to play defense and where you're supposed to be and that kind of thing. I really think, I've said a million times at this point, but it really is just, the only quote unquote flaw, I think, is that you're too you don't like to carry the puck as much, but obviously that's improved a lot recently. I mean, I've noticed myself just how much that has improved. I think you've noticed how much that's improved. So, I don't think there's any question that it's improving and that you just kind of need to keep doing what you're doing. And, again, I'm not worried about saying that, like take risks or whatever, be more offensive, be more aggressive, shoot more, because I know that, even the shoot more thing, I'm not worried that you're going to turn into like a, a pasta, for example, and just start shooting every puck like, oh, I got inside the blue line, I got to shoot now. I'm not worried that that's going to happen, because I know that you have the vision and the wherewithal to look for good plays and not just throw the puck at the net just because. Even though sometimes there are times to do that, and there are times that you did that in this game, and there are times it didn't work, and there are times it did work. And even the times that it didn't work, I thought, hey, that was, I don't mind that. I thought that's, okay play to make there. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, just I would say you're on the right track. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't be afraid to get aggressive. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, because I know that, like I said, you have that strong, foundational, reliable, responsible game that you're obviously capable of, and that you've obviously leaned on a lot. So I'm not concerned that that you could get over aggressive and like lose that, because I know that you're always going to be able to come back to that. So I think right now it's just about building that confidence and working on carrying the puck and the real like skill aspect of the game and finishing plays. But I think the more you develop that confidence and that willingness to just hold the puck and not pass it sometimes, and the shooting mentality, the more you develop all that stuff, the more I think that you're going to get better at just finishing on plays as well as, creating them. But yeah, I think that's all I got to say for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye!